This motion makes clear that Australia is falling behind the rest of the world and going backwards under the Liberals. Now, I'm a bit old-fashioned, compared to the Deputy Prime Minister at least. I believe that facts still matter and that the evidence is clear. In the 8th year of this tired, pointless government over there, we've got enough data in now to assess their actual record. How has Australia actually fared compared to other countries? And how are Australians actually doing in the 8th year of this government? Well, the conclusions are stark. From independent, reputable data from the OECD and other international sources, these are global rankings, if you like. They're like the Olympics of developed nations to see how we're measuring up. Are we progressing or are we falling behind? The conclusion, quite fairly to say, is that Australia is less productive, more unequal, more corrupt, less happy, more indebted, less affluent and less trusting of public institutions than we were when this Liberal government was elected in 2013. Let's have a look at the economy. The government over here, the Liberals, love to claim that they're great economic managers. We're leading the world, we're told all the time. We're going great, it's tickety-boo. Well, it's simply not true when you look at the facts and scratch behind the marketing spin that the Prime Minister gives us. Have a look at wages. When the government was elected in 2013, 6 years later to 2019, real wages had fallen in Australia. In 2019, before COVID, Australia sat, this is before COVID, they can't hide behind COVID, Australia sat third last place in the OECD out of 35 countries for wage growth. The government's only answer is new laws to allow bosses to cut wages further and to get rid of penalty rates. Have a look at housing affordability. While wages have been going backwards, we are now the third most unaffordable housing market in the OECD because prices have been rising much faster than wages. This is a disaster for society. We've seen house prices in Melbourne and Sydney up by 2% month on month. This is terrible. The only housing affordability policy this government's had was Malcolm Turnbull saying you should get rich parents to give you a deposit. They had no minister for years. Now they've got one. It was probably better when they didn't have one because they've come up with their bathroom renovation scheme, which is their only answer, and a bunch of nutty backbenchers telling us that people should be able to withdraw their superannuation to buy a house. That's like pouring petrol on a fire. All that will see is house prices rise further. It's like getting a vacuum cleaner into your superannuation account and sucking the cash straight into the pocket of the guy selling the house. That's all they've got. All they've got. Third worst in the world. Productivity. It's the special sauce, if you like, of the economy. It's how much value we squeeze out of every hour, every bit of resource we put in. In 2013, when Labor left office, Australia's productivity was growing at 1.7% a year. We were the 10th highest in the world out of the 34 OECD nations. 6 years on under this mob, before COVID, they can't hide behind COVID, Australian productivity growth was negative, the 5th last in the OECD. That's shocking. Household debt, 119.4% of GDP, the 2nd highest out of 43 countries. Business investment, down 26% under the Liberals, and 85% of that decline was before the pandemic. GDP per capita, whichever measure you look at, it belies their claim, their propaganda, their myth, oh, Liberals are great economic managers. It's not true. You know, we might be mean, nasty, fight each other, but we're good economic managers. Well, it's not true. The government will hate this motion. It's full of inconvenient facts. They don't like to deal in facts. They're desperate not to talk about their actual record of failure in their 8th year. The problem for the government is no amount of spin, no amount of marketing, not the $1 billion of taxpayer-funded advertising that they've blown since they were elected, not even any amount of idiotic photos of the Prime Minister playing dress-ups and building things. Remember the chook shed? You could fit the whole WA Liberal Party into the chook shed now, couldn't you? But none of these stupid photos, the daggy dad persona, the personal photographer, none of it will cover up from their actual record of failure. And as the motion shows, when you look at education, our kids are going backwards compared to the rest of the world in science and maths. Tuition fees up by 36% in 4 years for university courses. 8th out of 11 high-income countries for healthcare affordability going backwards. Australia's ranked 61st globally for broadband speeds. They stuffed the NBN and told blatant lies about its cost. Proportion of women in parliament, only 23% of the government's party room are women. First Nations Australians have the lowest life expectancy. On every measure, when you look at the facts, not the spin and marketing, Australia has gone backwards under the Liberals.
That's right.